Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now today's video is going to be about the iPhone 13. Yes, I know the iPhone 12 literally came out like a month ago, but there are some really cool rumors floating around online and let's talk about them. So the first rumor comes from Ming-Chi Kuo, who is 78.2% accurate, so pretty reliable source in the past. And what he is reporting is a regular release, and by regular release I mean September, because pretty much every iPhone in the history of iPhones has come out in September, and obviously this year it didn't, just due to, this year being totally different than every other year. So much happened this year, and that's exactly why Apple pushed the release date specifically for 2020. But it looks like in 2021 that the iPhone 13 lineup is actually going to be released in September, and it looks like the 13s are going to come in 4 different models, just like we saw this year with the 12s. I'm assuming they will keep it the exact same, having a 13 mini, a 13, a 13 Pro, and a 13 Pro Max. Now we've got to talk about some new features. So it looks like Touch ID is actually going to be coming back with the 13 lineup. Now this report comes from John Prosser, one of my favorite Apple reporters, and he is 79.2% accurate, so also pretty reliable. So he's reporting that there's going to be an under-display Touch ID. So basically that's underneath the actual screen of the phone, and you can put your finger right on the screen and unlock it. Really great feature, because as you guys probably know, with this whole pandemic and wearing a mask, you can't really use Face ID when you're in public, which is super frustrating. All the time when I go to a store and want to use Apple Pay, or I go to the gym and want to unlock my phone and change songs, it always gives me that annoying little shake of Face ID saying it doesn't work and that I have to type in my passcode. Big first world problem, but it is super frustrating. So having Touch ID come back and not being like a plastic button at the bottom is an awesome feature, and there's already a ton of Android phones that do this, so the technology is definitely there. The nice thing too is you'll still have Face ID. It's not like they're going to just take Face ID away and only make you use Touch ID. You'll have the option for both. So whenever it's more convenient for Face ID, just look at your phone, and when it's more convenient for your thumb or your other fingers, touch the phone and there you go. John is also reporting that there is 2 functioning prototypes that are in the works right now that are actually, physically working, which I would have expected, because once again, the technology's already there, so Apple really just has to make it their own, and that's pretty much it. But I am super excited for this feature, just because I think masks are going to be a norm for at least like a few more years, and I really don't want to have to deal with that little shaky Face ID thing and then typing in my passcode. Next up is a 120Hz display. Now this was rumored for the 12 lineup, and sadly we didn't get it. Reports were saying it was because it was draining the battery too much, but realistically they could have just added an option, a 120Hz refresh option or a 60. But I think since they didn't do it with the 12, like, they have to do it with the 13. There's just so many phones on the market that are 120 right now, and for them to still be using 60, I think is just going to put them behind the pack a little bit, especially for Android users that are, using a 120Hz refresh rate phone and are thinking of switching to Apple and then just noticing how much slower it feels. So I definitely think this one is going to be true for sure. I think they just absolutely have to include a 120Hz display on the 13 lineup. Now the next rumor is a big one. It's going to definitely be controversial, but it looks like there might be a portless phone, which means they will take out the lightning charger at the bottom. If you thought people got mad from taking away the actual power adapter, just imagine when you tell them, like, there's literally nothing in the box, it's just a phone. Now don't get too scared now, because it looks like this might only be one luxury model of the 13 lineup, and we all know what that means. It's going to be the 13 Pro Max, if it is going to even happen at all. With taking the lightning port out for charging, you can actually expand the battery a little bit too, making the battery life even better than the 12 Pro Max, which from personal experience, because I do have that phone, it's a 20-hour battery life, and I only charge my phone maybe every day and a half, and I'm on my phone all the time. So you can just imagine how much better, like, let's say the 13 Pro Max is a 25-hour battery life, how good that's going to be. And we all know where this is going to. It's basically going to force you to buy MagSafe or other wireless chargers. I do think that all iPhones will probably be portless within the next maybe 3 or 4 years. I think part of the reason why Apple, took away the power charging brick out of the new phones this year was to basically get you used to that. I know they said it was for environmental reasons, which I do think there's a bit of truth in that, because once they only have a phone in the box, which might happen with that 13 Pro Max next year, the boxes are going to be super thin and people won't be needing, wired chargers anymore. Now, obviously, this is going to take a lot of adjustment and a lot of time to get, like, pretty much everyone on this train of having no ports on their phone and using wireless chargers. But the beginning of this whole thing might even start next year in September with that 13 Pro Max. The next big feature on the 13 lineup looks like it's going to be Wi-Fi 6E. Now this report comes from Barclays, which is 64.7% accurate, so not as accurate as the previous two guys, but I feel like there might be a bit of truth in this, so let's talk about it. So what Wi-Fi 6E is basically the next generation of Wi-Fi connectivity. Right now, Wi-Fi has been limited to 2.4 and 5 gigahertz frequencies. The easiest way I can basically put this is like, think of 6E Wi-Fi connectivity like 5G cellular connectivity. It's essentially just the next level. Now the Wi-Fi Alliance, yes, this is a real organization that I just found out about today. They state that Wi-Fi 6E has the highest performance, it also has low latency and the fastest data rates possible, which that makes sense because if it is, you know, next level Wi-Fi connectivity, I hope those things are true. And it looks like all 4 phones in the 13 lineup will have the capability of connecting to Wi-Fi 6E, which is nice to know that it's coming to all of them and not just the 13 Pros. The next rumor is a smaller notch. Now don't get your hopes up on this one, guys, because they've been saying this for years. That thing at the top of your phone has stayed the same for years now, and I highly doubt that next year is the year that it gets smaller. Although it is possible, I just don't think it's going to happen, just considering that literally in the past few years, every single year they say, oh, it's rumored that it's going to be smaller. So I'm not going to get my hopes up for this one, and then, you know, they announce the phone and the notch is still there and I'm disappointed. But it looks like that is a rumor that's floating around, so, you know, please just a tiny bit smaller. That would be great. Now the processor is going to be better than this year's because they always, every single year, make it a little bit better. If they go with the same strategy of naming their chips, this one is probably going to be called the A15. So it is going to be better than this year's A14, but just slightly. The last rumor that I want to talk about that's surfacing online is that there's going to be camera improvements to the entire lineup. So what this rumor here is saying is that they're basically taking the 12 Pro Max cameras, putting it across all of the 13 lineup, which is nice, but you know they're not going to keep every single phone with the exact same camera because then why would people buy the more expensive one? So in this rumor it says that the 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max will have notable improvements, and I'm really excited to see what those improvements are because I personally use my iPhone for all of my business stuff, whether that's YouTube or Instagram or pretty much anything really. I think phones are just getting so capable of being able to do all that, and since I use my phone so much for the business side of things, I'm really excited to see what new features they bring to the Pro lineup. But yeah guys, that looks like it's pretty much it for the iPhone 13 rumors. Some pretty exciting stuff, to be completely honest. Nothing on USB-C charging just yet, but I'm sure some rumors will surface pretty soon regarding the charging of the new phones. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below of what feature you are most excited for. Personally, I'm most excited for Touch ID built into the display. It's just so frustrating, you know, when you're at the gym and you're trying to change a song and you have a mask on, or you're just trying to simply use Apple Pay so that you don't have to like physically touch money or your card or the machine or anything. And it's like, nope, you gotta type in that passcode. It's very, very frustrating, and I think that Touch ID is just going to solve a lot of first world problem headaches. That's just my take on it. But anyways guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys all have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next video.